Well, guys, be prepared for a sellout on Brexit because it's now unanimous that Boris Johnson does not lead this country. He is just a passenger along for the ride. The question has always been who is really running the show. Some thought maybe Whitty and Valens, which in a way may be true for some policies, but it appears his bitter skirt might actually be running the show really. She has forced out vote leave advisors that she did not like, and now Dominic Cummings has followed suit thanks to her. Right now, I bet this whole situation has Boris Johnson's brown eye puckered up tighter than a snare drum, knowing how stupid this all makes him look, squirming as his true master Carrie tells him what is going to happen. It would explain where the lunatic green agenda is being pushed from if this unelected spunk trumpet is actually running the show. It would also partly explain Boris Johnson's recent loving with Joe Biden and his Build Back Better bullshit. Now, of course, Boris Johnson is a lefty at heart, openly admitting to being a feminist, and has now become a cuck that most of the country, including his own voters, despise with a passion. And to top it all off, his axe wound is running the show, it seems, which is a scary thought if you ask me. She is hardly going to be pushing for anything the voting public wants, let's be honest. And this is worrying not only for the green agenda, but simply because, with them gone, it's the Maybot premiership all over again. Tory party, career politicians and special interests will now tell Boris Johnson what to do on Brexit, meaning Brexit in name only could be the best we get. I would really not be surprised if Boris Johnson asked for a 12-month extension to be announced with the EU to transition from the transition period. Any and all trust in Boris Johnson's leadership has gone from me at this point, and should from most people. And it would appear this is all thanks to Carrie and her little group of scumbags that now run the country, if you ask me. Boris is weak as piss water, so you know he ain't running shit. Actually, tell a lie, the only thing he is running is corruption on a grand scale. The British Medical Journal called them out for suppressing evidence, censoring doctors and scientists, along with the corrupt practices like giving their friends billion-pound contracts with no tender process. But let's be honest, that's hardly a secret at this point. As I said the other day, they are spending more on tests than they do on the UK policing budget, 3 times more, which should say it all really. The Tory party, the party of law and order, is spending more money on locking down its citizens than it actually does on law and order. But the BBC and most media outlets have picked up on the Cummings story, but if I am honest, none of them have anything worthwhile to actually say about it. They are all buzzing with joy obviously because they hate Dominic Cummings and know Boris Johnson is weak and living on borrowed time. As we know, the media can flip and start calling him out at any given moment, putting him right in the shit. All we have seen for the past 8 months is them covering things up for him. That could all change any day, and in some places it already is. But like I said, the BBC spoke about this, so we will go through a bit of what they had to say. But like I said, most of it is complete pointless nonsense. It headlines Dominic Cummings and Cain exits give chance to reset government. Yeah, to reset it back to the cuckold type of government that we had under Theresa May. Though in all honesty, Boris Johnson has shown himself to be no better than her, as I've said before. The departure of the Prime Minister's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, is a chance to reset government, a senior Tory MP have said, obviously because most of the Tory party absolutely hated him. Mr Cummings left Downing Street for the last time on Friday after internal battles about his role. Former Brexit Secretary David Davis said Boris Johnson had taken decisive action in removing his aide. No, actually, I think you'll find Carrie Symonds took decisive action. Boris Johnson just does what he's told. It says Mr Cummings had a notoriously difficult relationship with Conservative MPs, some of who said it was time for things to be done differently in Downing Street. Well, they are not wrong there, but I don't think it's Dominic Cummings who is behind the bullshit. I could be wrong, but I'm sure it's other people, let me tell you. And it says here, even Ian Duncan Smith went against him. Former Tory leader Sir Ian Duncan Smith wrote in the Telegraph that Mr Cummings' influence had led to a ramshackled operation in the hands of one man. Another MP said it was time to rejoice at the departure of the 2 aides. The BBC's deputy political editor, Vicky Young, reported, yeah, of course she did, because she rejoiced with them. We all know the BBC hates Dominic Cummings just as much as people in the Tory party do. But essentially what they're saying is it's going to be less confrontational and the Parliament is going to have more say on what goes on in government. That could be worrying, or it could also be a good thing, given how piss poor the government has actually been. Both Mr Cummings, 48, and Mr Cain, 39, are veterans of the Vote Leave campaign and work closely with Mr Johnson to deliver the Brexit vote during the 2016 EU referendum. And now Boris Johnson has sold them up the river, the traitorous fuckpig. But here it says, Newsnight political editor Nicholas Watson said there were conflicting accounts on the final meeting involving Mr Johnson and his 2 departing aides. The Prime Minister's team reportedly learned that Mr Cummings' team had described him as indecisive and also allegedly briefed against the Prime Minister's fiancée, Carrie Simmons. Yeah, because she had likely been releasing briefs against them. I wonder where most of the information about Dominic Cummings has been coming from all this time. Could it possibly have been coming from Carrie Simmons herself or someone in her team? That is certainly a possibility if you ask me. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs, so I could well be wrong, but it's certainly a theory. It goes on though, Mr. Johnson is said to have expressed his displeasure during a meeting with the two men, but their sides dispute this, with a source saying the three had a very warm and friendly meeting. Now obviously they are going to say that, and I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. What's done is done, and Carrie Simmons has got her way, showing, like I said, that Boris Johnson is not running the show. He has allowed some unelected fuckpig to dictate who advises him and who doesn't. That is not on. Mr. Cain is said to have left Downing Street through a discreet exit on Friday evening, but Mr. Cummings walked through the black front door of number 10 with a cardboard box and was later seen arriving home with a bottle of champagne. Yeah, I wonder what he has to celebrate there. Maybe he has something up his sleeve, who will know. Hopefully he can give us some information about what has been going on over the past few months within government. Mr. Davis said his exit from Downing Street holding a cardboard box was entirely deliberate, as he wanted to leave an image. Yeah, he kinda wants to leave an image, and he's also throwing it in the government's face that this is all happening, and I wonder what he's going to do next. Paying attention to his blog might be a good idea. But as I've already said, this is definitely worrying for the country at large. Not so much because I have any loyalty to Dominic Cummings or anyone else, but simply because Carrie Simmons appears to be running the show. How the fuck does this dopey bint get to decide what goes on and what doesn't? And I would certainly say that Brexit is now in doubt. There is no guarantee that Boris Johnson will stick to his word. Look at all he has done this year that goes against apparently everything he stood for.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.